In today's video, I'm diving into the entitled narcissist personality pattern. Ready? Let's do this. Hi friends, welcome to my channel. If it's your first time here, my name is Tammy M. Joyce. I'm the founder of Tammy M Coaching, and I'm an empowerment life coach helping people heal from painful family of origin and romantic relationship patterns so you can finally live your best life in peace, confidence, and freedom. I run a powerful 8-week transformational coaching program called the Freedom Class, specific to healing and recovery from codependency and narcissistic abuse. If that's of interest to you, be sure to stick around till the end of the video and I'll tell you exactly how you can learn more about my programs. So let's talk about the entitled narcissist personality pattern. Being in any kind of relationship with a person who lands on the spectrum of destructive narcissism is hard work, to say the least. And this is mainly because your needs, wishes, preferences, and desires almost certainly come second to whatever it is the narcissist wants. Even your most basic and fundamental needs will consistently go unmet as they take a back seat to or are ignored entirely by the narcissist. And this can be especially frustrating and demoralizing when, as an empathic person, you want nothing more than to have a mutually satisfying relationship with the people in your life. And no matter how hard you try, nothing you've done to this point seems to have worked. And as an empath, your natural tendency is to focus on the narcissist's positive qualities, while you try to minimize his or her negative and destructive traits for the sake of the relationship. Now, the problem with this is when you're dealing with someone with a destructive narcissist personality pattern, you're dealing with someone who goes through life with an overinflated sense of self-importance and therefore also has an overinflated sense of entitlement. Now, needless to say, the net result for a highly empathic person is they're going to find relationships with narcissistic people to be incredibly frustrating, demoralizing, shaming, and painful. And progressively so as time goes on. Staying in these relationships long enough can and will produce a feeling of profound helplessness, which inevitably leaves you with zero hope of ever feeling any other way. And a big red flag that you're dealing with someone who has an entitled narcissist personality pattern is you'll notice that not only do they feel entitled to, but they also get a real sick kick out of manipulating, duping, and harming others. Not only do they enjoy hurting your feelings, they also enjoy pulling the wool over your eyes and conning you. And then they'll have the nerve to project these relationship crimes onto you by accusing you of doing and being exactly who they are and what they've been up to. And they do this in an attempt to confirm their false sense of superiority. They go through life dedicated to finding ways to take advantage of others because in their mind, they aren't winning unless someone else is losing, and they have to win. They literally revel in their successes in this regard and are likely to become very angry if you dare suggest that there's anything wrong with the tactics they use in order to meet their needs or achieve their goals. They, of course, are entitled to behave any way they choose. From their distorted perception of reality and themselves, they can do no wrong. And if they use what you can clearly see are dishonest, unjust, or unfair tactics, they'll tell you it's fine because it's what everyone else does, according to them. And therefore, they're not only entitled, but they're completely justified in doing whatever it is that they want to do, however it is that they want to do it. And I don't have to tell you that this attitude also extends to you. The narcissist will feel entitled to and even enjoy feeling like they've succeeded in putting something over on you. They'll take great pleasure in describing your shortcomings that allowed this to happen to you. They'll say something like, if only you were smarter, more aware, or more worthy somehow, you could have prevented this from happening. As usual, you'll be to blame for their destructive attitudes and behavior. And the truth, however, is nothing you do or say is likely to prevent the narcissist from succeeding at whatever it is they're up to when they're motivated enough. You're not going to change their attitude, shift their sense of entitlement, stop their projecting, nor are you ever going to be able to stop or prevent them from trying to manipulate, con, or otherwise deceive and target you. First of all, you're too honest and kind. And second, they enjoy the game way too much. So, it's never going to be a level playing field. Your conscience won't allow it. So your best bet will be to walk off the field or step out of the ring. Simply opt out. Choose not to play. Now comment below and let me know whether or not you're struggling with an entitled, destructive narcissist in your life. And if so, who are they? Let me know in the comments section below. And if that's you, you're likely an excellent candidate for my 8-week transformational coaching program, the Freedom Class. If that's of interest to you, there's a link in the description below where you can apply to see if you qualify for a free one-on-one consultation with either myself or a member of my team. Now, the narcissist's overinflated sense of entitlement and constant need for reassurance of their superiority demand that they use every opportunity to shore up this false sense of superiority by highlighting and emphasizing others' supposed inferiority, yours included. Their superiority is only ever supported when they can point out all the ways that others are inadequate, incompetent, less intelligent, downright stupid, ignorant, naive, gullible, and therefore less worthy in every possible way. You know that person who's always pointing out how everyone else is so stupid or such an idiot? There's your first clue. And the irony is, if the narcissist truly felt superior, if they knew deep down to their core that they were genuinely good enough, smart enough, worthy enough, there wouldn't be any need to position others as inferior in order to confirm their own superiority. So when you can see what's going on for what it is, literally step back and observe from a place of detached, calm observation and clarity, the joke's on them. But it's hard to do when they're succeeding in triggering all of your unresolved wounding and trauma. So if you want anything to change, you're going to have to do your work. Because the truth is, unless you want to spend a considerable amount of your time thwarting the narcissist's efforts to manipulate, dupe, and deceive you, you won't win in this situation. And this is your life we're talking about. So how much more of your life are you willing to sacrifice to this type of vampiric predator? Here's the thing. In order to have a fighting chance against an entitled, empathy-impaired, conscienceless, toxic, emotional manipulator, you would have to constantly be alert, read ambiguous signals, gather a lot of useless information, sort through mixed messages, and be ready to spring into action on a moment's notice. Even then, you'd still be unable to forestall or eliminate having something put over on you. I promise you, it's not worth your time, energy, and the effort it would take. There are far healthier ways to spend your time and your vital life force energy that don't involve dancing with the devil all day long. The classic description of a con man or woman illustrates narcissist's entitled attitude perfectly. Con artists are charming, seductive, and typically successful at winning others' trust with the goal of swindling or duping them for their own gain. They refer to their targets as marks, dupes, and pigeons, along with other charming terms that are meant to paint the target as inferior, as well as reinforce the notion that there's nothing wrong with taking advantage of others or exploiting them, because, they don't deserve to be treated with decency or respect, being as fundamentally flawed and inferior as they are. For any of you who have followed the Ghislaine Maxwell case, there's a classic example. In a court of law, this woman actually referred to the teenage victims of sexual abuse as garbage and deserving of having been used and abused by both herself and Epstein, and God only knows who else. And the attitude boils down to, if these girls were worthy to begin with, they wouldn't be in a position where someone could take advantage of them. And this, of course, infers that the victims are somehow to blame for having been sexually exploited by these elite pedophiles. And this is a special brand of sick and evil I've personally encountered in my own family of origin. The pedophile feels entitled to sexually exploit and abuse a child, while his enabling wife feels entitled to bully and otherwise target this child. When the child finally grows up and stands up and musters the courage to speak the truth, come what may, in an attempt to protect the next generation of children coming along, the child who was targeted, bullied, abused, and exploited, sexually and otherwise, is further scapegoated, blamed, shamed, and smeared to smithereens to anyone who will listen. First of all, I think it goes without saying that you have to be pretty narcissistic to feel entitled to use a child for your own sexual gratification while your own babies are sleeping in the next room. Second, the sense of entitlement involved in a situation like this is clearly off the charts. This attitude of entitlement highlights the colossal lack of empathy and conscience indicative of people with a destructive narcissist personality pattern, whether that's overt or covert. Not only are they only ever concerned with themselves, they simply cannot put themselves in another person's shoes, not even a child's for that matter, nor do they feel any real obligation to look out for others in any real way. Sure, they can put on a good act for those who may be watching, making it appear that they've gone to bat for their target. But it's an act, an illusion, lies from the devil. And whatever performance may be going on or crumbs they may be throwing your way in front of others, it does absolutely nothing to make up for, never mind reverse, the very real damage they've caused through their destructive sense of entitlement to use and abuse wherever they choose. Further, this attitude of entitlement goes hand in hand with their inflated self, whose impeccable image of superiority is to be maintained at all costs. And it's of tremendous importance that others recognize this impeccable image of superiority they work so hard to maintain. Failure to do so invites contempt, disdain, and acts of revenge, like assassinating your character through the classic smear campaign, because they're so entitled. And the drag is, people fall for this bullshit. And you can't put a dent in that. So stop trying. This is why holding your cards close to your chest until you can remove yourself from the dynamic entirely is going to be in your best interest when you discern that the person or people you're dealing with have a destructive narcissist personality pattern. The truth is, more often than not only is it not going to be in your best interest, but it actually may not even be safe to let the narcissist know that you don't see or perceive them as superior and yourself as inferior. So be smart. Depending on your situation, letting them know you're onto them may not serve you. If you're strong, bulletproof, or if you've got nothing to lose and you want to turn the tables on the narcissist, then fill your boots. Otherwise, keep your mouth shut. Stay under the radar and do whatever you need to do to take care of yourself. If the narcissist exhibits this entitled and superior attitude, you need to know that you're perceived by them as only there to be used, exploited, and taken advantage of, and most importantly, without protest on your part, according to the narcissist. Remember, the narcissist actually feels entitled to do the things they do, and you're expected to recognize and accept their right to behave any way they choose without so much as blinking an eye at the mistreatment. Another piece of this that you want to understand is that the narcissist is also likely to unconsciously consider you as an extension of themselves and thus under their control. It's like they see you as a different person, but don't really understand the concept to the point where you can be accepted as acting on your own personal needs and desires. Rather, you're expected to fulfill the narcissist's needs on demand. No questions asked. Any pushback will be punished one way or another. So it's important to know and accept that this attitude is deep-seated, long-lasting, and usually associated with early life experiences. In other words, this overinflated sense of entitlement and all the destructive attitudes and behavior that go along with it aren't likely to change. Even on the rare occasion when the narcissistic person works with a competent therapist, you're not likely to be able to do or say or be anything that will cause real or lasting change in the narcissist. The reality is, you can only learn to protect yourself, and if you have children, to protect them. And in my view, your best personal protection begins with the right information, but honestly, that's the least of it. Information can be helpful, validating, even empowering, but it's 3-5% of the game max. The real deal requires healing and recovery from the inside out, so you can begin to live from a place of strong and resilient psychological boundaries, inner peace, and real strength and confidence. That's the antidote. And with that, I'm going to call it a wrap. But don't stop now. I have well over 100 more videos right here on YouTube for you to watch to help you better understand the detrimental effects of narcissistic abuse, and more importantly, learn what you need to do now to heal from the abuse so you can start living your best life in peace, confidence, and freedom. And if you want to go deeper with me, go to tammyamcoaching.com and learn about my unique tried and true process garnered over decades of experience and learn how you can become my client.